Have you ever scrolled through social media, seen someone else's perfect life, and thought to yourself, why am I not there yet? What is wrong with me? It's like everyone else is winning and you're just stuck. Sound familiar? I've been there too. I used to compare myself to everyone, friends, colleagues, even strangers online. And every time I felt smaller, less capable, and more frustrated with myself. It wasn't until I hit an emotional breaking point that I realized comparison wasn't just making me feel bad, it was stealing, my confidence and holding me back. In this video, I'm going to share the story of how I broke free from the trap of comparison and the mindset shift that changed everything for me. And by the end, you'll have a clear strategy to stop comparing yourself to others and start feeling confident in your own journey. Let me take you back to a few years ago. I remember one particular evening, I was sitting in my house after a long day at work. I was scrolling, through Instagram, and every post seemed to scream at me. A friend celebrating their promotion at work, or another buying their dream house, or someone else on, a luxurious vacation. Meanwhile, I was sitting there eating instant noodles, wondering why my life felt so, you know, ordinary. It wasn't jealousy. It was this deep feeling of inadequacy, like I wasn't doing enough or I wasn't being enough. The worst part came when I started to avoid people. I stopped reaching out to friends because I felt ashamed of where I was in my life. I thought, what do I even have to talk about? They're out there achieving amazing things and I'm just surviving. One night I sat down and cried, feeling completely stuck. I didn't even recognize myself anymore. But then something happened. A mentor of mine noticed my withdrawal and asked me a simple but powerful question. He asked me, whose race are you running? At first, I didn't understand, but they explained. They say, you're so busy measuring your progress against everyone else's that you've forgotten to focus on your own path. That hit me like a ton of bricks. What I learned that day was life changing. You can't win a race you weren't meant to run. Comparing yourself to others is like running a marathon, but constantly looking sideways at other runners. You lose focus, you stumble, and eventually you give up. Instead, the only person you should compare yourself to is who you were yesterday. So I started small, right? Instead of scrolling through social media and feeling bad about what I didn't have, I asked myself, what is one thing I achieved today that I'm proud of? What progress did I make, no matter how small? At first, it felt silly celebrating tiny wins like, waking up early or finishing a task on time. But over time, those small wins added up, and I started to see myself differently. I wasn't failing, I was growing, slowly but surely. One of the most powerful moments came when I was working on a side project. I used to look at other creators who seemed so far ahead and think, why even bother? But this time, I focused only on improving my work step by step. And guess what? That project turned into my first major success because I stayed, in my lane and stopped worrying about what others were doing. You might be comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20 without even realizing it. But here's the truth: every journey is unique, and you have no idea what struggles that successful person has faced. The only person you need to compete with is the version of you from yesterday. Once I stopped comparing myself to, others, everything started to shift. I felt lighter, more focused, and genuinely happier. I was no longer wasting energy trying to keep up with others. Instead, I was channeling that energy into improving myself, improving my skills, and my goals. For example, I started tracking my progress in a journal. Small wins, lessons learned, and goals achieved. Over 6 months, I saw real growth. I completed a major certification I'd been procrastinating on for years. Um, I rebuilt relationships I'd neglected because of my insecurity. And most importantly, I started believing in myself again. But the biggest change wasn't just external, it was internal. I started waking up with a sense of purpose and peace, knowing that I was running my own race at my own pace. That's a feeling no amount of likes or comparisons can give you. So here's the takeaway: stop comparing your life to someone else's highlight reel. Instead, focus on, your own growth. Celebrate your small wins and measure your success by how far you've come, not by where someone else is. Here is a simple exercise to start today. Write down, three things you've accomplished this week that make you proud. They don't have to be big, just progress you've done, progress you've made, no matter how small. Keep doing this every week, and you'll start to see just how far you're actually going. I would love to hear from you. What is one area in your life where you've been comparing yourself to others? And how are you going to shift your focus back to your own journey? Drop it in a comment. I read every single one. If this video resonated with you, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'll be sharing more personal stories and actionable strategies to help you become the best version of yourself. And if you know someone who needs to hear this message, share this video with them. It could be the first step toward their breakthrough.